Wow, geez, Louis. God, he tail wagged the camera.
They were very eager to see the 150 and the 5,000 one.
Quick test run today. Got a few different things that I'm trying out here. HyperNight QuickStart HyperNight 3-liter vest. I hope I got that name correctly. Also, we've got the Prodigio 2 here. Have to pull over. Quick stop to tuck my lace ends, lace aglets in. I don't want to have them banging against my Stryd Pod DUO 5.0 here. Third run here in the Prodigio 2. First one, I had it after the Kip Summit Max, so I want to get it out on its own in a little small video here just to kind of feel it out separately from that super soft and energetic ATPU foam of the Kip Run shoe. I had a few questions in a few of the videos asking about the softness of the Prodigio 2, and that's something, again, hard to gauge when you're going. I don't typically do that, by the way, doing 2 test runs, one after the other, the second one being in the firmer shoe, especially compared or relative to that Kip Run model. So any shoe naturally is going to feel firmer compared to that one. So to answer that question straight away, yes, they do feel softer than version 1. It could come down to, the width in the forefoot. I feel like that just makes such a big difference here. I feel like I have more spread out volume of foam width-wise. And they did say that it actually was a softer version of the foam. So yeah, it does feel softer, more energetic. It feels really nice on the road. Not quite the bounce of the Pro, not quite the flexibility of the Pro, something I talked about in my model roundup. Again, on the run, it is more apparent. I also did mention that it was stiffer relative to the Pro model, but this is by no means a stiff shoe. Now that I've got it on the run, it's actually feeling really nice. It's definitely, I think, I would say, more protective than the Pro for sure. The foam is not as soft, not as compliant underfoot. You're just naturally going to get a little more protection with this model here. A little bit more stiffness. Probably if I flex it in hand, and definitely check out that video. Definitely stiffer underfoot here, and that is going to make it more protective, but I would not classify it as an objectively stiff shoe. That's what I'm trying to say here. Coming back to the vest here, this bottle is hopping all over the place on me. This vest comes with a 2-liter bladder, which is quite interesting. I got this bottle. This one's actually coming out of the Pinnacle 6-liter vest. They give you 2 20-ounce bottles with these straws here, but this is a 3-liter vest, so I typically wouldn't take a 3-liter vest and pile a 2-liter bladder into it, but you can kind of see how this thing is jumping all over, and this is a large 20-ounce bottle here. Also, I've only got one bottle pocket. Got a zipper pocket on this side. I had my camera and stick in there before. Now I've got it out because I'm holding it, obviously. So when you've got like one bottle in the right side here, it can feel quite a bit off balance. I feel like I'm kind of tilted down on the right side here. You wouldn't have that particular issue with the 2-liter bladder, but again, for this size of vest, I typically wouldn't be setting up a bladder. I'd kind of want to have something lightweight to get out the door and get going. There's not much capacity all around, although the back pocket is quite large, but still, front storage is limited. It's designed as more of a quick run kind of a thing, but not for having a quick salt flask on the run. I also found with all this movement, it kind of loosens up my straps. They don't stay tight over that bouncing and stuff. I keep having to retighten these chest straps here to minimize the bouncing, and then they just slowly loosen over time, and then it starts bouncing more and more. You got 2 pockets up on this side here, but they're just kind of loose. I don't have anything in this overlapping front pocket here. And this one is kind of, it's pretty wide. It's not narrow for, you know, the typical width of a soft flask. Maybe I gotta try it with even one of those Ultra Spire wider semi-soft flasks. I'm running up a little hill here and it's still even bouncing. Once I start drinking this down or going downhill, I might have to actually stow it away in the back. Quick look at this vest up close here. You got 1 zipper pocket here. It's quite large. You can see, got my selfie stick in there right now, so it could hold any size phone. But again, it is a little bit loose, but I find it holds things pretty tight across my chest. Not too worried about this pocket here. Have a little gel thing over there. Nothing else on the shoulders. And then you have 2 pockets over here. And again, this one is just, it's pretty loose here. I feel like this needs to be tightened up a lot to really hold a reasonably sized soft flask over here. These straps, this part was coming loose with all the bouncing. This kept coming loose, so I would have to keep tightening these up. And also, I'm not crazy about these sliding straps. You could really see how easily this is moving here. Like, I'm not doing or putting much pressure here at all. I've had these in other vests and it was like much tighter. Like, you had to really work to kind of adjust them. These tend to move quite easily. So a few of my runs, they would migrate like this. You see how easy they just go like that? I want to have it kind of a wider area to tighten down at the bottom of the vest and at the top. And then I would just be running, and before I realized it, they would just be both kind of like in the middle and the vest would be just moving more. So this is another area of improvement. Either, I don't know, I'm just not a fan of this. It also has a curvature to it. So I feel like once it gets past this little point here, then it really goes in the middle. So they have to either tighten this up or go with a regular webbing type setup. Heading to the back of the vest here. This is a one-size-fits-all vest, so I have these strapped down pretty tight. I could probably maybe tighten them a little bit more. I don't think that would help too much with the kind of bouncing, that's for sure. There's a large pocket in the back here, top entry. I've got a buff and a light in case I end up being out here too long. There's a sleeve in here to keep the hydration bladder up against the back and keep it from flopping around too much. With the bladder, it is pretty good actually. It's more stable than having this, so if I were to carry some good amount of fluids, I would definitely prefer the hydration bladder in this vest. It does come with a hydration bladder, as I said, so I guess that is the idea, but they give you 1 pocket here, so I guess the idea is to keep it kind of hands-free, bite the bullet, load up the hydration bladder, and then clean it when you're done with the run, which is mostly the main problem with wanting to take along a hydration bladder. And then just kind of store stuff up front here. Keep your phone here. You can see the reflective elements on the back. I feel like this is a good urban pack, night running pack. Like if you wanted to maybe have an extra light, maybe you will need extra layers if the temperature is variable. Even if you're running in the city and stuff, easily stuff your gloves and your buff in different layers. Maybe you have to take stuff off, put them in here, and then keep going. Phone over here, of course, camera, whatever else you gotta have. But as far as actually having the capacity for legit trail running and stuff like that, this is probably not the one, but for certain scenarios, I could see this being a nice and easy pick to have. But again, you do have to maybe plan on using that hydration bladder, or even a handheld if you want, or if you know you're going to be stopping, which is what I do sometimes when I'm doing these videos. Sometimes I don't want to have the water jostling around in front next to the microphone, so I'll take a soft flask, but I'll just throw it in the back because I know I'll stop here and there for this kind of thing, and then I'll just like drink a bunch out of the pack and put it in the back pocket there. So if any of those scenarios are ringing a bell to you, this would be a good pick for that. Bonk Breaker energy chews from the feed. I told you this is going to be a kind of roundup of testing stuff. How much is in this little packet here? 18 grams of carbs. I got the variety pack, one of those add to your basket at checkout kind of things. Pretty orangey, pretty citrusy here. I have different flavors. They're pretty good. Short run, just to have a little something. Again, the feed has those things that you add on before you go. And, you know, if you can get carbs for cheap, you don't always have to buy the expensive stuff. December 30, 2025. You can see our ski hill off in the distance there. No snow, virtually no snow. I have not been skiing at all yet this year. Crazy start to the winter here and a lot of places out west. I'm loving the feel of these Prodigio 2s right now. This is just, in my opinion, perfect everyday kind of running shoe. I'm not even in mountain terrain here. You know, it's gonna take me a little while to work my back up to speed. I'm feeling better. I'm out on the trail, so that's a good thing. But even in smoother trails like this, it doesn't feel uncomfortable. It doesn't feel like too much shoe for smoother, easier trails. It doesn't feel like overly stiff, anything like that. It feels really nice. And again, the wide forefoot fit. I feel like my toes have plenty of room up there. Even got a Jogology sock there, which is a little bit cushioned in the toes, takes up a bit of volume in the toe box, and I still feel like I have good space up there. Just very comfortable toe box, love it. Speaking about the toe box, I got a comment in my Prodigio roundup video. What about the ankle collar? I know that was an issue in early version 1. They fixed that in line again. I think I was just so locked in on how good and differences between the forefoot toe boxes across the different models. I just forgot to even talk about the ankle collar because it is essentially a non-issue. I don't have any issue at all. I mentioned this in my Kip Summit / Prodigio 2 video. I just don't feel anything at all around the collar, around the heel, sides, ankles, and up at the Achilles. Nothing at all. It feels really great, and I have to say, a positive heel hold. And what I mean by that is it's not just like my heel is in there and it's not slipping, it's just okay. When I say it as positive heel hold, it feels like it's really wrapped and holding onto my heel bone, which is really a great feeling. A little bit of a gear tidbit here. I've got this thing on my wrist here. It is actually a beer koozie that I got at the running event. Just like size to a beer can here, but it's a perfect little wristband for winter running. I actually had a beer, was ready to head back to the hotel, put it on my wrist just to hold it. I had a few other things that I was carrying. Check that out there. It kind of fills in the gap below your watch, sleeve of your base layer, jacket, whatever, and your glove. Which is, the wrist is the part where you lose a lot of heat, where you could either keep your wrist cool in the summer to maintain a lower core body temperature, and it could get you really cold in the winter if you have your wrists exposed. So yeah, I was heading back to my hotel, slipped one on one of my wrists. This is San Antonio, first week of December. It was actually a little cold. It was probably in the 50s, which is great running weather, but standing around, a lot of these events were outdoors by the Riverwalk thing. You know, it was a little bit chilly, frosty over there. Not frosty, we'll say chilly. But I was like, wow, this feels pretty nice on my wrist. So I turned around, went back, had to drink another beer. I don't know if I finished the whole thing. I might have had maybe a half, but I wanted to get that second little wristband for my other wrist here. So now I have a matching pair. These are from Darn Tough, by the way. I don't think they make these, but they should if they don't, or maybe just keep your eye out for a Darn Tough sponsored event and be ready to drink. I mean, I think they had non-alcoholic drinks too, but something in a can or a bottle. Let's see, what else do I have out here? I've got the Stryd Pod 5.0 on. Stryd Pod, or what do they call it? Stryd DUO 5.0. When you got the pair there. I could not figure out if there is an easy way to switch back and forth between my 4.0 pair and my 5.0 pair. Of course, would like to do some comparison testing if that's an easy thing, but if not, I'll kind of have to just go on impressions with this new version 5.0 here. I'm about to head on a steep little up, down, then up here. And one of the features of the new version is that it's supposedly more responsive to quick changes in power, i.e. when you're out on the trails, that would be typically quick changes in elevation. I feel like it has been noticeable on the run. I've been kind of keeping a sort of close eye on it, but I'm gonna head up there. We'll check the watch as it kind of increases. I'll try to keep the effort the same, or I don't know what, just see how it goes. Then there's a sharp descent, so see what it looks like when we can get on the other side there. All right, holding steady, 234. Very minor rise, so 269. I'm still going up here. Quick drop back down to 240. These are little kind of like rollers here. Just hit a little steep roller, 251. It's kind of going up and down here. 233, 243, 275. Yeah. Now it's a little flat here, so it should drop. Yeah, it is. 48, 31. Now it's going back up again. So it went down to 220, 270. So you see, there's like, it's impossible to be 284 on that last little riser here. Gradually leveling out here. 258, 257, 233, 224. Yeah, it's flattening out here. 220, 224. All right, we're back in the groove here, 220s. So that was actually a little bit of an extreme test as far as responsiveness there, because it was rolling kind of like little bumps for like bikes and stuff or whatever, more like for drainage. But every like 5 to 10 feet, it would roll. So you're not going to get instantaneous response, but it would be like a lag where in the few steps where I got into the flatter or less inclined section, then it would drop. Then I start going up again. By the time I got to the top, maybe say 8 to 10 feet of the next little mini incline, then I would see it bump up again. So to me, it definitely feels more responsive. I feel like that's not something I would ever really look at in that granular detail on the run, but I could see it being responsive, albeit with a very minor delay. Okay, 240, a little downhill here, pretty short. Drop to 210, pretty much right away. Going up again, I'm already back up at 240, 250. So I just came down there, down that little dip, and then up here, and you could hear me talking out the power numbers there. You could hear how responsive it was. Pretty much when it's steady without those like bumps in the last one that I ran over, by the time I was kind of near the bottom of that little dip there, the power was spot on. And then a few steps into this one, you know, you could see it's steadier here than those little mini rollers that I had. A few steps into this one, it went right back up to where it should be when you're running uphill. So pretty good accuracy. Gonna head over down this one here. This is a little longer one. You can see there's some little bumps down there, but I should be moving quick, so That shouldn't really affect the power number. I'll probably just hop right over those. But then you should see about when I get into the sunlight, that's the start of the that's a steeper climb there. That guy's heading up there on a bike. But I would expect by the time I get going right in that sunlight, I'm gonna keep the camera trained on my feet there. So you'll see when I get in the sunlight, I would expect the power numbers to start jumping up again, and I'll just like read them out to you so you can see how quickly they update. All right, here we go. Initial steps there. Okay, now 150, 215, 230, moving fast here, 247. Okay, just jumping into the sunlight here, 260, coming down the hill, 284, 309, 306, trying to keep up the power here, 315, keep up the power but stay steady, 340, 389, kind of moving, 370, 380, but you could see how it responded right away. The power was high on the descent because I was running fast leading into it there, but then it jumped up. I'm still looking at 320 right now because I'm putting some power in. 344, 352 there. Okay, leveled out. 250, I crested that. Now it should go up a little. Some climbing here. 280. Yeah, it's very responsive, I would say. I mean, just kind of obviously eyeball testing here, but I have been using version 4 for years at this point, so I think my eyeball test is valid. Final on the run thoughts as the sun is setting here on 2025. Normal Kjerag 2, top of mind. Had a lot of questions about that recently. That shoe I would say is more comparable to the Pro model, of course. The energy in the mid foam, a little bit more than this shoe here. The flexibility is another factor that puts it a little bit closer to that Prodigio Pro model, but if you are kind of having your eye on the Prodigio 2 here, and again your eye on the Kjerag 2, I think you're going to get more stability. Certainly if you have a wider foot, this shoe is going to be the way to go, even more so than the Pro model. I feel like it's just a little more comfortable around the middle of the foot, certainly in the toe box with this model. And I don't know, I think out of the 3, Pro, Kjerag 2, and version 2 here, I think that the Prodigio Pro is the most energetic foam. Kjerag 2 second, but this one, it's not terribly far behind. It's less bouncy, but you're getting stability. It has a good amount of energy to it, just not that bounce, say, as the other ones, but it's surprisingly close. So if you did watch my Kjerag 2 first look video and perhaps you were concerned about the narrowness of both the platform on the ground and also the narrowness of the fit itself around the middle of the shoe, you got those side walls there. Well, you have less of that wrapping up on the sides of the foot in this version 2 of the Prodigio here. This would be a model that I would say is, again, almost comparable in terms of the energy from the shoe, but if you were looking for more of that width, more of that comfort in the toe box, more of that, hey there, more of that stability from a wider platform on the ground, then this could be a good pick. So thank you for tuning in again. And of course, throughout 2025, it has been 1 year and 1 month of humble running. Oh my God, I cannot believe it. the support, the growth has been incredible, more than I could have ever imagined. So thank you to all of you watching out there. Check out my website, www.humblerunning.com. I've got a newsletter over there. It'd be cool if you could sign up for that. I know the YouTube algorithm doesn't always show you all the videos that go up. It can be mysterious at times. So every 2 weeks I put out a little roundup of what's been out on the channel over the previous 2 weeks. So in case YouTube is a little sneaky and doesn't show you the humble running content that you always want to see, you'll catch that in my newsletter. I also have, in this last one, just yesterday actually, I've got all my affiliate links in there. Also there on the support page of my channel. So if you're in the holiday spirit and, I don't know, just wanting to support the channel, just head over to those links. You click through and somehow some little bit of change gets funneled back to help support the channel, support humble running. So that'd be super cool if you did that. If you found my stuff useful and you enjoyed watching humble running in 2025, again, thank you. And I will see you out on the trails next year.